So now we're ready for part two of messing with the narcissist. It takes a lot to bring these things back to memory because it really, there are some that stand out and then some that just like pop into your head that you're like, oh yeah, that happened. And yeah, a couple of people stand out really, aside from my mother, because that was a long game. I mean, that was birth to then, teenage, then really to moving out, dealing with her as an adult, and then moving back in to take care of her. I mean, that was a whole long game. But in those shorter ones, two people stand out: my sister, and then this guy that I ran into right when I thought I had figured the narcissism thing out, and really wasn't expecting to have some guy love on me like that. And I feel like there were definitely moments of that where I succeeded in, just keeping my space, keeping myself, good with that. And it was a matter of how do I get, because that's what you need to do when you're in a situation that you're not out of yet and you're going to have to deal with this person. As far as I'm concerned, in order to keep yourself sturdy and whole with it, it really is a matter of what is my end game? What do I need out of this, and how do I get that? And you never know what that's going to be. It's not necessarily just getting out of a relationship. So here's one instance. My sister, she was notorious for doing things like this. She managed to hijack not just God, music, hobbies, occupations, things I did really seriously, like rowing. I mean, she just came in my wake and did everything. I was doing so much that really my therapist was right when she was like, what is your sister doing with your entire life? But she would also take my clothes. So she went on her honeymoon and she didn't have nice summer clothes. She was going to Charleston and Savannah, and I just gave her a whole wardrobe that I never got back. The whole thing never got back. And it was nice. I'm good at acquiring nice clothes for not very much money. So it's a skill. Thank God it just keeps there more of that stuff to get. But anyway, yeah, she did that. A pair of pants that I had just disappeared, and all of a sudden I saw them on a friend of hers, and I was like, those are my pants. And she was like, well, these are Sarah's pants. And I was like, no, they're my pants. Give them back. So she's visiting once. And I was a little vulnerable because I had just had gallbladder surgery. I wasn't feeling well. And she was in and out, and I had a bunch of clothes in a closet in the room that she was in. So, of course, she's nosing through everything. And she comes out with this dress, this black dress that I had not even worn yet. Oh, this would look so great on me. Can I borrow this? I'm going up to Indy to have lunch with Les. And the first thing I'm thinking is there's no way that's going to fit you because, I've gained a couple of pounds. It doesn't fit me, and I'm smaller than you. But, that's the thing you do in those moments before you figured everything out. So before I even realized that I should be saying no, I was like, sure. And then I was like, she's not going to give that back. But I said, so, but then I was like, so how are you going to get it back to me? Are you coming back here? Because you've got, no, I'm going straight to Florida, but I will put it in the mail. I was like, okay. And at that point, I actually did go to my brother because he knew that I was doing all this. And I was like, oh, God, I just gave her a dress that I really do want back. It's stupid. But I already know what I'm going to do. And I did. I was like, this is the thing you've got to know. If you need something out of a narcissist, if you need something back from them, just need something you need from them, want something you want from them, again, don't take anything that's not yours. That's not part of the deal. You want to stay honest in this. You want to stay authentic. So don't take things not yours. But if you were in that position, flattery. I told him, I said, I've already figured out what I'm going to do. I am just going to follow her whole journey up to Indianapolis. And how was your lunch with Leslie? Oh, gosh, down to Florida. And it was hilarious. So I was like, oh, how was lunch with Leslie? How was the dress? Oh, it turned out we went casual, so I didn't even use it. Turned out it didn't fit. So I was like, oh, well, are you putting it right back in the mail then? You're going to send it back? Yes, right away. So doesn't come. And so she gets to Florida. So how's your conference in Florida? How's it going? Oh, would you believe it? I'm just really enjoying the humidity down here. I know that feeling now. I was just in a place where the weather is so freaking moderate that I like, give me heat, humidity, give me weather, give me something like for real. But at the time, I knew the answer to that was, oh, you must be crazy or something. No, it's not. Oh, well, it's the rare bird that appreciates humidity like that. I was really, just again, what a pleasant surprise when she sends back, oh, yes, well, I'm a rare bird in many ways. And this just went on. All you have to do is indulge their little fantasy about themselves. Continue to do that. And then go, by the way, my dress. It took her whole trip through there and back home to the whole thing before I ever got back the dress, but I did because I wasn't going to stop. And I think at a certain point, maybe she realized that I just was not going to stop with all the love bombing that she doesn't know what's going on. Like, that's a thing. Start love bombing them like that and see how they react because they really don't know what to do about it when they're faced with, in a way, what they know they're doing. They know they're messing with you at that point. So when you start even doing that, when you start love bombing them, it's going to throw them off their game. Do the stuff to them that they do to you and just see how they react. That's a lot of it. I mean, it's, again, if you can remove yourself to the point where you're like, I'm good with this, but I gotta deal with this person for right now. So, again, if they're entertaining themselves with this, why shouldn't I do the same thing? If I can remove myself and just go, you are so insecure, you're so petty, you're so small, you're so tiny, and you need something I've got. So let's just see what we're going to do about that. Yeah, just flattery. Oh, it's a rare bird. Oh, yes, I know. Just stuff that you totally, I mean, I would never do that to someone that I truly respect and care about, who treats me, respectfully and with dignity. I would never do that. I would never do that to a child. I would not shine a child on or gaslight a child. But I will certainly gaslight a gaslighter. Why not? Because that is what throws them off their game. But back here, they know they're gaslighting you. So they also, back here, if you start gaslighting them, they're like, what is going on? They don't know how to deal with it. Just like that guy did not know, Ramon did not know what to do when I was like, you're really serious about that. Anyway, I got to go to the gym. But the crux of that was he was like, but I thought we were going to no, I really got to get to the gym. But yeah, have a nice afternoon. I'll talk to you maybe tomorrow. Oh my God, you just kind of gave them a reversion of their silent treatment that they don't know what to do with, because they were supposed to break you down in that moment. You were supposed to react in shame. You were supposed to react like, oh my God, I talk too much. And now I am so embarrassed. No, I was like, you just took up like an hour and a half and told me 2 stories. Oh, and that's another good thing to do. See what happens when you do this. Again, show your empathy, but in ways that you don't have to give it to them. Just show that you have it. Show that you have it. So as he's telling these stories that I've heard already like 4 times, and not that they're interesting stories, once or twice, but yeah, once we're getting to 3 and 4 times, I will simply interject in a moment where he's saying something. Well, I'll even finish the thought. Oh, right, and then this. I remember you told me. Go on. Okay. I have a tendency to repeat stories, and to the point that I'll even say, if I've already told you this, tell me. I don't need to repeat it again. If someone says, oh yeah, I remember you told me about that, I'll go, oh, okay, well, the reason I was telling you was this. Is there any point? I'll do that. I don't need to tell you something you've already heard. Do that to a narcissist. They'll pretty much ignore you. But if you're doing it at like, they want you to be beneath them. So if you're doing that where you're eating, they want you to be beneath them. If you're doing it in a way that I'm meeting you as an equal, I am listening to you as a peer who respects your voice, what you're saying. I'm curious, I'm interested, and I remember you telling me this story. I remember you said this about it. Is listening. it kind of goes right past them, but there's that moment where they're going to recognize, number one, they're repeating the story. Number two, you're giving them the empathy that you were listening. And furthermore, you're just going to let them do it, keep doing it, and they will. They will take all the air out of the room and then turn around with you as soon as you say, oh, here's what I have to add to that you're doing it. As I think of these, I will keep putting them up because there have been several times that I've just kind of shut down that sort of, that narcissistic, I'm going to do me here and just kind of, but, relieve my mind, my boredom, assuage my ego, whatever, here, at your expense. Whether it's taking something from you, whether it is putting you on the defensive, because that's what that whole taking the air out of the room thing was meant to do, was put me so on the defensive that he would have me, he thought, for the rest of the afternoon, sort of captive in that. That's why the second part, where you just go, oh, okay, so you're serious with that. I gotta go. Yeah, I know we had plans, but I don't feel like doing this. It's not fun for me. There you go. Not for nothing, he came scrambling back. Another, same person. I think I've mentioned before those narcissistic tendencies that I watch out for in myself, and one of them very much is I'm kind of a smarty pants. And I can sound like I'm talking down to you. I don't mean to, and that is a holdover from my mom, that condescending thing. I really don't mean to, but I have filled my head with so much information, which is, why I can kind of appreciate other people. Like, people get irritated with Rachel Maddow, and I don't think of her as a journalist so much as like a really effective smarty pants that either you agree with or don't agree with. I agree with her, so I like listening to her. I don't have to think of her as, being just the facts fan. She's got an opinion. She's saying that. We can all be in that space for real. But I know, I'm kind of a smarty pants. That's why I like her. And this guy, Ramon, caught me in a moment of that where I was just telling him facts. Listen, and here's another, that he did the instance of, you've told me that you want something, so I'm going to withhold it. And I was addressing that with him and saying, listen, we had this discussion, and like you literally said, you also would prefer to talk by phone. Got a problem with my wrist. And I would just prefer to have a human voice conversation. You said you wanted the same, so what's up? Because you are literally withholding it at this point. And what he threw back to me was, well, now you're talking down to me. And in that moment, I knew, okay, number one, that is something that I can be guilty of. So my next question is, do I owe him an apology for that? And so what I said threw him off in the first place. I said, because this was all, I had called him. And so what I said, having been the one that called, I'm sure he's expecting me to escalate this to something. And I just went, okay, well, that's possible, but I need to think about that for a little bit. So, maybe an hour or so, but whatever time you need, give me a call back. I got the phone. Done. Well, I think at that point, he already, he got hit with the fact that I was willing to even stop there and go, that's something to consider. That threw him off, because he was ready to just have me on the defensive. Nah, I'm actually willing to be accountable, and I'll show you what that looks like. But then he never called me back, of course. He was going to do the silent treatment. So after a couple of days, I sent him a text. If he prefers that, that's fine. I sent him a text. Now you've got it in writing. Because what I said was, I thought about what you said, and that actually goes back to an abuse pattern of mine, and something that, I am capable of doing, talking down to people. I don't mean to. It's just when I'm so certain of what I'm feeling or knowing, that I do know that affect comes out. So if I made you feel bad in that moment, I am sorry for that. And furthermore, since you seem to feel so offended by that, I will just call it a wash. You really offended me by making an agreement that you then really didn't have any intention of going with. And that felt insulting to me. And it sounds like maybe I did something that felt insulting to you. So I guess maybe now we'll just leave both of those things alone, or, your court. Done. By then, see, that's the thing. By then, I had a little bit more, because I was just moving to where he was with a writing contract, which is how I met him in the first place, totally independent of him. But I had gotten this writing contract, and I was on my way to go stay in an Airbnb there. And he even tried to get me to stay with him. No, it's okay. I've got an Airbnb. Those little things, like, God, you have known me less than a month, and you want me to move into your house because I'm here for a contract? No. I have an Airbnb. I'm good. Well, so at that point, there become, what was here's another one. See, you just learn where to go. Okay, you're doing that thing. He had asked me, when would I be there for the weekend, and he really wanted to go to one of the first baseball games of the season. Oh, I'm so into baseball. I was so excited. Yeah, let's do that. We planned a day. We were all into it. And then on the Thursday, I was supposed to be there I was going back home Friday and coming back on Saturday, and bringing all my stuff to the Airbnb and everything. And he starts sending me texts. He would do this, and this is another one. Call it if you need to. He started doing I'm just not used to being in a relationship, and I'm very solitary. And he would go silent on me like that. But he would always make that excuse. And I get that threw him off too. And I was like, he canceled plans on me once doing that. Oh, I'm just so solitary and I'm not used to this. And I was like, well, that's fine. I got other stuff to do. Whatever. Your problem. And they came back and still wanted me to go for that weekend. I spent a little time with him, made my own plans, whatever, It's spontaneous, but I'm not going to give you like that. But he started that right away. And so then by the time I got to this ball game and this whole weekend that he had planned, and I had set aside time, like a whole day, night for that. And then he comes in and he's like, oh, I'm just really feeling panicky, and I'm so solitary and all this. By then, I already know that's a lie, because we inadvertently ran into somebody else he'd already done this with, and I just didn't know how to interpret the look of, oh, God, on her face when she saw us. But I'm already knowing this line is kind of crap. The first time I was like, yeah, that was fine. I don't care. Again, I know what you're doing. You don't get to put me in a freak out about that. He did it for the ball game thing. And I did call him out on that, but very simply. I just said, okay, now we're down to a matter of respect for my time. I've given you full respect for your time. But you asked me to set aside an entire day and night for this. You've been planning it for a long time, and now you're just hitting me with this at the last minute, and that shows a tremendous disrespect for my time. If you are feeling like you need solitary space somewhere in there, you've got it. I'm not trying to pin you down, so I'm not sure, do you have a real panic disorder? I did put that in there. I was like, do you have an actual panic disorder that you're dealing with? I can empathize. And again, he scrambled around with all sorts of responses to that, and I just was like, well, whatever. But somewhere in there, I did say, I said, it's just starting to feel like, maybe I'm a little too much for this fragile construct that you've got set up for yourself right now. I said it in a text. There. That's a good one. Just a very subtle wording, phrasing. Be careful with that, because I did. I knew exactly what I was saying, and boy, did he freak out. Fragile construct, who do you think you are? And all this. And I was like, I don't know. I just can't do that much drama. And I left it. A week later, can we talk? And I was like, well, I've got some time on Thursday afternoon. I can meet you at this bar. Sure. We go. And he, like, I'm sorry. And that was literally all he could get out was I'm sorry. Now, I've got a whole thing about I'm sorry and how that is just like a risk-reward consequence. What am I going to have to do? Say sorry? That's worth it. It's not real. So I just went, it's okay. Whatever. And again, I've got work, so in the end, I did get to go to the baseball game. I had a day. I enjoyed myself. A week later, and then I pretty much bugged out. But you see how along the way you can still kind of figure out who somebody is, figure out if they've got enough character in them to move in your direction when you say you want something, when you say something important to you, if they have enough character to recognize that you're giving that empathy, that you're giving that accountability, or if it's freaking them out every time you show up, like, I'm for real, and I'm not on the defensive with you. Again, it's a long game. I've been at this since I was born, and figuring it out. Again, kids are very effective critical thinkers. A lot of this we figure out on our own. That's why I keep saying other people who have been through this, tell me what you've got. I am super curious how everybody else got through these things, because I know we all do it differently. And I'm not sure I'm expressing all that well, some of the most effective ways I'm new at this and I really don't care. I just feel like it's getting more and more urgent that we really address these things and just don't think that you're really going to get anywhere further than just keep yourself strong and move away from this person, move them out of their space where they can do you any harm. That's it. Peace, loves.